Hello and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be going over three things that I wish Final Fantasy XIV will add in the future. Now, before we get into the list, please do hit like and subscribe to the video. It's free, helps me out a ton, and also check out the Discord. Check me out on Twitch as well, because I stream live every week. So please do click follow on there. Having said that, let's get into the list. So originally, when I planned this video, which was a while ago, there was 5 things on this list. It wasn't actually a list of 3. But 2 of those things they've actually addressed. So one of those things was a visual upgrade to the game, which we know that they're doing, and is coming in 7.0, which is great. A lot of my critique of how the visuals looked in like A Realm Reborn and stuff is actually being addressed, so that's amazing. And also one of my kind of complaints, I guess, was how the UI design in the Mogstation was just awful. But they have actually updated that recently, and it's a lot easier. It used to be the first trial of Final Fantasy XIV was buying the game, and now it's actually a lot easier to do that. So thank God they've sorted that out. But now that we've gone through that, let's get into what is in my list. And at list number 1 is finding an easier way or a more automatic way to be able to organize your gear. So at the moment, if you have multiple jobs and crafting jobs and if you have multiple jobs and crafting jobs, you only have a certain amount of slots that you have on you, so you can't have everything on you at once. And then if you need to be able to then organize your gear on your retainers, remember where that is, so when you're playing or you're leveling up something, you need to go back to that retainer, remember what gear that you're using, put onto that gear when you're leveling up that job or your crafting job. But sometimes that gear that you have crosses over with other gear that you use for other jobs, so that you need to remember, and it's, as you can see as I'm explaining it, it is a bit of a pain to go through it. So if there was just an automatic way that you could go into like a place that has like a chest, and you can go kind of like in the same way that you go on the your character screen in the game, you could go pick recommended gear and it just gives it to you. So you can go into like your like a massive armory chest or something like that, where you can just put all the gear you have and go pick recommended gear for Red Mage level 56, and it just goes and it's on your character. Just something like that would make life so much easier, particularly when you pick, when you start to have multiple jobs and you're leveling multiple ones at the same time, and you've got crafting ones, and you're trying to remember where everything is, and you've also got tons of leftover gear because you're going to be using it to use for company seals. And it's all, I mean, I had to do a big organizing clear out the other day, and I couldn't just help think of if there was just a button, much like the one at the character menu, that I could just use to be able to put this, to organize this into like different areas, you know, so I could just organize this and use it quickly. So if you have like an armory storage, and I know there's the armoire, but you can't store everything in the armoire, so like armory storage, and you've got separate pages, and you look on the page, one page, and that goes, okay, this is your kind of like your tanking armor place, and this is your maiming, and this is your, you know, casting, and then you've got your crafting place, and you could just quickly add that onto you. Go, okay, I feel like leveling up my level 34 bard. You can just go to your armory, go and click best gear for bard, and it goes into your inventory. You can just put that on. Something like that would be fantastic. It's just having to, I'm not an innately organized person, so I often make a mess of stuff, and it'd just be easier for me, and I'm sure there are loads of players out there who are far more organized, who are far better, who figured out a system that works for them. I have not. So if there was just a way to make it more easier, more streamlined, more automatic, I would really like that to be put into the game somehow. Now, the second thing that I really would love the game to add into Final Fantasy XIV is the addition of, so we have the glamour system now, as we know it, where you can, you know, you use a glamour prism, and you've got your glamour chest, and you can change the look of gear you're wearing to gear that you already have in your, like, your glamour chest. And we know that in 6.1, I think, or 6.1, 6.2, they're going to be, I think 6.2, they're going to be doubling the amount of slots that you have in your glamour chest from 400 to 800, which is great. What I would love, and I know that Yoshida has spoken about this before. Oh, this was a while ago, an interview a while ago. But I know that I would love there to add pretty much a very similar system to the way that they do Transmog in World of Warcraft, which is a game that I played before I came to Final Fantasy, which is where when you loot a bit of gear, you have automatically unlocked its appearance, and you can go into your collections tab and you have it there. And so you don't need to hold on to it, you don't need to use glamour prisms, you've got it saved in a collection book, and then you can just go to the transmog place and you can go apply transmog to this, and you don't need to hold on to bits of gear and use prisms. You know, you just pay for it and it's a lot easier. So every single bit of gear that you pick up, you automatically unlock the appearance for it. Now, Yoshida has spoken about this before and how he'd love to do it. It's something that he wants to do, but it's just incredibly difficult to do it in the way that the game is now. So I understand that it's probably unlikely, but this is a wish list after all. Not everything, you know, I do understand that not everything I want can happen. But if they could figure out a way to do glamour in the same way that Transmog is done, you know, I think it would be a lot easier to be able to do it, and I think it'll be a lot easier. You'll be able to just hold on to a lot more appearances, and I mean, they're already having to double up the space in the chest. So if they could figure that out, I think that'd be great. I'm not sure they can, but I would love that. I wish they could. You know, we're gonna go to the third and the final one, and this is a very personal one for me, and I'm just gonna. Before I explain it, I'm just going to play a video for what it is. Yeah, I'm going to play a clip of what I want them to add into the game. And those of you who know will know. And those of you who don't, bear with me, I'll explain in a minute. But I'm just going to play this clip right now. Come on. Come on. Come on. If you know, you know, and you have to agree, the addition of Blitzball into Final Fantasy XIV would be incredible. What an amazing piece of side content that could be. Like, if you don't know, Blitzball is essentially like underwater football for that was in Final Fantasy X. And it was a bit of side content that you could do in Final Fantasy X, and it was very, very fun. I really, really enjoyed playing Blitzball when I played Final Fantasy X, which is the first Final Fantasy I played. Could you imagine the branches of side content you could have, not just playing it, but you could, like, much in the same way that you have, you know, your squads in Final Fantasy now, you could have your own Blitzball squad where you have your own NPCs that you recruit, that you develop a team, you build their stats, that you can go in with them and play Blitzball. Or you could do the same what they do in FIFA, which is pro clubs, where you all have each individual role on the team is played by a player, and you all work together to play on that team. I'm not sure how viable that is. That might be quite difficult. But I do think having your own squad that you develop and you level up through playing through tournaments would be amazing. Now, obviously, you could have, you know, NPC tournaments that you play through, and maybe like a little bit of a story going on through a Blitzball tournament. But then obviously you have online matches, player versus player matches. You can play against your friends. You can have tournaments in the same way. Like every season, you can have different tournaments every season, You can have special tournament events. You could have, like, you could do you level up your team, and then you go into, like, maybe every year or maybe every couple of years you play in a tournament, and then it's kind of like the World Cup where you play against different teams, and then you can go to the final, and maybe that final was at one of the fan fests or something like that. And I think there's just a lot of potential with this piece of content. You can have glamour with all of your kit. You can design or dye your kit on a lot of different types of kit. You can have your own, like, merchandise with your type of balls that you can have on your balls, your blitz balls, not your balls, but your blitz balls. You could build a fan base. You could build a franchise. You could possibly even, I don't think this is possible, but you could possibly even have your own, like, Blitzball arena. That's probably, I mean, this is all going too far, but that's the point of this video, is to dream. You can have tournaments within your free company. You could build, I just think there's like a deep well of potential with adding Blitzball as a piece of just side content into Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know how viable it is. I don't know how viable anything I've said is. Because I don't know how to make games. But I do know that I think that would be an amazing piece of content. And just to think of the things that you could have if you, like, win the amount of, like, achievements, mounts that you can unlock through that. Or so if you're a dancer, like, instead of having the glaives, you can unlock, like, a glamour appearance which turns it into a ball, like a whacker in Final Fantasy X. I just think there's I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of the potential that of Blitzball content could do within this game. But I really, ever since I started playing it, I thought that Blitzball was a great addition that could be added into Final Fantasy XIV, and that's the main thing that I think I wish they will add into the game in the future. I think that is the main thing that I wish and dream and hope that maybe one day, I don't know how, but maybe one day they can add some version of Blitzball into Final Fantasy XIV. I don't think they will, because I think there's too many other things that's prioritized. But a man can dream. A man can dream. And that's the point of this video, is to dream. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Now, obviously I've only done 3 things that I wish for, but I'm sure there's loads of other things that maybe you wish for. So if there's things that you would love for the game to add, put it in the comments section below, and I'll love to read through those. Perhaps I'll maybe do another video in the future. So please do like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.